What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Chicago Sports Podcast. I'm your boy, Brandon Trax Hyatt, and I'm coming to you on a wonderful 5th of July. That's right. I hope everybody still has all their digits. Had a really good 4th of July Independence Day, celebrating our country and with their family and the ones that you love, friends, all that. Hope everybody's safe. Had a good time, had a good festive time. Hopefully, you cracked open and drank responsibly of that El Bandito Yankee tequila, smooth to the core. We sponsor them, and we love them. We love their flavor. We love what they do. They're really good people. It's Chris Chelios brand there, El Bandito Yankee tequila. So yeah, let's get into it really quick. Just so everybody is, if anybody's not aware, I'm a United States Navy veteran, and I really like the 4th of July. It's a really good time. One of my most memorable ones was when I was in the Middle East, and they had the USS Enterprise, and they were doing a flyover, and they did a really nice air show for us because we were, out there stuck. So they did something special. But yesterday was just hanging out with my boy and my nephew and my cousin-in-law, and all that good stuff. We were just popping those fireworks off and all the little kid stuff and some noisemakers, but just enjoying company and have a good time. I fired up the grill and was the grill master. Threw on some hot dogs, hamburgers, cheeseburgers, all that good stuff. So anyways, I hope everybody enjoyed their 4th and made the best of it. And yeah, so today's the 5th, and we're getting back in it with some Chicago Bears football talk. One of Kyler Gordon, our cornerback. He's a very good cornerback. We drafted him as a rookie back in 2022 when we went and got defense. I don't know if you guys remember that in the draft. But he kind of struggled right out the gate in 2022. We weren't really sure what we were going to get. He had his bumps and bruises along the way. But Pro Football Focus, PFF, they credited him with allowing 63 receptions on 77 targets. And that's just right under 82% completion percentage. It was a lackluster coverage grade of 46.4, below 50%. Despite that roller coaster that he was on, that performance, he began flashing some improvement, showing us some hope, which us Bears fans are always quite hopeful and trying to give the youngsters the benefit of the doubt. Towards the conclusion of his first season of his debut, his rookie season, he started to look good, and he showed some promise. I really like him at that nickel position. He plays strong. He plays elusive. He hits hard. He can make those tackles, and that's kind of what you need with somebody that's covering the middle. He can also cover the outside, and I'm pretty sure he'd rather be a cornerback instead of a nickel because it pays better. But right now he's doing us a really good job. It's a little over 60, mid 60%, 62, something like that, are all sub packages of 4-3, 3-4, all that. So quite a big amount, a large amount are sub packages. So you got to have that third defensive back pretty much as a starter in on almost all the plays. So, and one like him that could tackle almost as good as a linebacker, you're really not missing something if they audible out and take it in as a run instead. So and if he covers a tight end, he can lay the wood, man. But yeah, so um, after that first year, things got a little bit better. Um, he like I said, he was a good cover man back in Washington, right? Uh, eh, on the West Coast over there, that Washington. I always want to be clear of that, um, Washington College, um, and his three best individual games that he had in the pros was against the Philadelphia Eagles and the Buffalo Bills in weeks 15 and 16. That's two of his best three games. Now we all know Philly and Buffalo, they got a really good offense. They got some good coaches, good QBs. So that's a good test to see what a corner could do for you. Um, and Nickelback. The year two leap arrived in 23 for him. That he ranked fourth in the NFL in passer rating and allowed in the slot 83.6 per PFF. So that's very good, very high numbers. He only allowed 38 receptions for 336 yards and two touchdowns when playing the nickel position for Matt Eberflus. In total, he was credited with allowing 20 fewer catches and 402 less receiving yards than the year prior. So he made a big jump and cut back a lot. And that's really what you look for in a sophomore. You don't really want that sophomore slump because that can happen and does happen when people get used to your style of playing, especially interdivision, the Vikings, Lions, Packers, all that. They get used to seeing how you play. They can play differently on you. First look, you might get lucky, catch lightning in a bottle, and they're not ready for you because they don't have enough tape and all that. But year two, year three, that's when you really start to grow your roots and prove yourself. Um, he's going to be a centerpiece, and this could be the best secondary in the league. Jalen Johnson, obviously leading the charge, and he just signed a multi-year extension, and he's that shutdown corner, man. We love Jalen. Glad he's here for sure. He got the bag. The other guy that's really good on our defense is Tyreek the Freak Stevenson, man. Oh boy. He was in his rookie elevation was definitely better than Kyler, that's for sure, man. He was looking good. And he should make a sophomore jump. I don't see him sliding, at all. And now that we've got three-time Pro Bowler Kevin Byard, he was added to the safeties, and him being over there, that's going to be really good. That's going to help him. Then that they need to have communication and accountability, and they need to be present throughout. They can't take plays off or anything like that. It'd be very important for them to communicate, and I think they're going to do. I think they're going to do a really good job. I'm excited about it. We'll see what happens, but the sky's the limit for Gordon this season. He was definitely, anybody could argue that he was the best, most improved defender in 23. So, I think he's going to take another leap this offseason. I really do. You look at him getting ready to get into a contract season, and trying to make that money and stay on the team. We'd love to have him. He's really cool. I like when he does the Spider-Man stuff and jumps up and hits the landing with the backflip and all that cool stuff out of the tunnel. He's definitely a showman. Really excited about him. He's definitely an upper tier slot corner, and he's only 25, man. He's got all this experience. It seems like he's even got more. He's 25 years old. He's a guy that you can just set, forget, and make. I mean, he's got it on lock. You don't have to babysit that guy. And that's really important. It really is. Because that allows you to do what you have to do when you're putting on a rush. You know what I mean? Very important. Um, I really think he's gonna have a breakout season this year, folks. Let's go ahead and see before we hit the chat. This segment is brought to you by Bridges Scoreboard, your Northwest Indiana sports headquarters with the Hall of Fame menu and the coldest beer in Northwest Indiana. Give them a call or show up, get online, reserve your table today, or just show up, man. Pull up to the bar or get you a nice table in the back or up front. Great people, great prices, and lots of really nice, robust servings. So let's see what's going on in the chat. We got Jay Grizz in the building. What's up, Jay Grizz? Hey, Cliff. What's up, Cliff? So yeah. Cliff says the Bears DBs are going to be exciting. Can't wait to see Byard and Brisker playing. No fly zone, Jay Grizz says. Yes, Grizz, for sure. No fly zone. I agree with that. I mean, seriously, you think about that, and he makes a really good point, too, because Brisker was drafted the same time that, you get two defensive backs at the same time. Now, let me just, I'm going to be as open and honest with you guys as possible, okay? You're not going to like what I have to hear or what I have to say. You're not going to like to hear it. But in 22, I was a little disappointed that we went back-to-back defensive backs. A, we didn't have a first-round pick. Two, we had 2 second-round picks. And I was really wanting some offense. And I felt you hear a lot of people talk about safeties and how you're not supposed to reach and go get a safety so early. So, I mean, Brisker, we all know what he is now, but I mean, let's be honest, we needed a lot, and it doesn't matter what side you cover on the ball. In Bear Country, we always love the defensive standouts, the guys that, lay the wood and make the offenders pay, right? So, but I was looking for some offense. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to get receiver, running back, whatever. I was looking for more. Went out and got these guys. Now together, I mean, it's just amazing what they're doing together, and they're growing together. That's really important. That whole continuity, being in the ranks together, game after game. I'm really hoping our offensive line, not to get off into another, sidebar, but I'm really hoping our offense starts to do that instead of all those dang, like they say in hockey, NHL, line changes. I feel like that happens a lot, and it's not good. But it's cool that they're having that. And now you get this guy that comes in as a really good perennial player that in Byard. And for, I'm not going to lie, he was off my radar. I had to do a little bit of research. He's not really like one of those names that just, pops at and so, but after I started doing some research, I said, okay, yeah. And, Eddie wasn't really performing the way we want to. I mean, we go way back, maybe not so far back, but Mike Brown, we loved Mike Brown. Guys like that. We go further back. We've had Plank on the show, right? We've had Fensick on the show. Those guys could lay the wood. And that's what we like in Chicago. And I think that's why we like Brisker so much and Gordon, because they're not afraid to hit. And it sounds like this Byard is not going to be an Eddie Jackson where he's just going to go out and try to catch some balls and bat them down and, just avoid contact. I wish I had the play last year, but, dude, he clearly, a play went into the end zone And if he would have just popped the guy out of bounds, he could have saved us. But he wasn't playing that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm glad Bayard's there. Eddie had some good years. I'm not going to totally diss him, but towards the end, I don't know if he wasn't feeling it, you know. I wish him well, but say I love you. He's not on our team. Jay Grizz says, thanks, Cliff. Jay Grizz says the defense will create a ton of turnovers. That's what we want. That's what we want. That's what we need. That will take the pressure off Caleb and company. If we can have those turnovers and shorten the field, I mean, the ball gets booted out to the 20, 25, 30, somewhere around there. 3 and out on the defense, or why 3 and out, right? Why not second? Rob them. Can we get a peanut punch in there? Is there anybody on our team that you guys see that can successfully, make a peanut punch? If that happens, we get some strip sacks, some peanut punches, some interceptions, anything, and make that field shorter for Caleb. He's not going to have godly numbers. He's not going to throw up 500 yards that game if we're doing stuff like that. But guess what? That scoreboard's going to be lit like the 4th of July, and it's going to take a lot of pressure off people. And I think that punter is going to take a lot of pressure off people too. They don't realize how valuable that punter is. Apparently last year, that punter just wasn't getting it done, and he was making that field a lot longer for Justin Fields and company, and they saw a deficit, and they really wanted to address it. They went out and did it. And quite possibly, he might have been the best offense Iowa had in Hawkeye country. I don't know. I had fell asleep during some of the games, except for when the defense was on, because that defense had to have been the best in the nation, fellas. So, but yeah, anyways, getting back to the defensive backs. Yeah, back in 08, exactly, Grizz. What did he say? This defense is similar if Big Dex can step up and we get some Tommy Harris production up out of Dex. We'll be the monsters in the middle. Hey, Grizz, I wanted to tell you when I had Tommy Harris, he was really hot on our 3 technique. And he said he likes his fundamentals. He likes his hands. He likes his aggressiveness. He likes the way that, Dex plays. But, man, cutting the weight, right? And he looks, solid. Doesn't look like he lost any strength, and that's important when you cut weight, right? You got to do 2 at the same time, and you got to be careful and methodical about it. But he looks good, man. So all signs are pointing to a good season for him, and that's really going to help out the outsides, And we had that back in the day. I hate to do it, man, but it's easy. See that banner? That don't fly behind me just because it's, little something cute to have up here with my Bears hat and my Bears shirt. But I'm going to tell you something, man. We had it really good with Dan Hampton on the bookend and Den on the outside. But what did we have that made their job easier? Our boy Mongo. Our boy Steve Mongo McMichael was wrecking shop, and he took care of everything in the middle, man. Everything in the middle. We get a guy like Dex, I think we're going to be just fine. A lot of people are worried about that 3, but Tommy Harris, aside from that horrific leg injury, that boy was on point, man. And he says, I mean, he knows a little bit about that position. He said that, he likes Dex. So I'm glad you brought that up, Grizz. Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah. So, what's Cliff say? I just got a question. He says, tracks, how good will Stevenson be this year? Kids already seems to get it. I think Stevenson is he's going to benefit from everybody elevating. I honestly think they're going to benefit from having a whole safety. And what I mean by that was Eddie didn't know if he was coming or going. Kind of Jalen didn't know if he was coming or going. It felt good, but it wasn't for sure. Now he's locked in. He can focus and go do his job. You know what I mean? And Eddie's down the road, say la vie. We got Bayard in here. I really think that a guy like Stevenson can focus on his craft. He can work with Jay, and it's going to be good, man. Iron sharpens iron. I think it's going to be good. Another thing that some people aren't really talking about, some people may be, but I know what made me a better left tackle, and that was going up against my defensive line. In my mind, we had a really good defensive line, and it made me better. One of the linebackers was actually helping me on techniques and stuff and what to look for, what he does towards, our opponents, and some ways that he has some lack of tendencies, not lack of discipline, but just everybody has a tendency, and it's okay. You're not going to be perfect at what you do, okay? But he was showing me some of his tendencies and what I could do as an offensive lineman. So iron sharpens iron. I think these three wide receivers out there, right? Dunze from Washington, right? Kyler from Washington. I like that. That's cool. Keenan Allen and DJ. I think they're going to make our defensive backs better and vice versa. It's going to be cool, man. It's going to be really cool. So, yeah, I like that, man. I like that. We got Bear Truth in the building. What's up, Bear Truth? He's got a lengthy little comment there. Let's see. Pickens has the upside to be a good starter or better. So I'm looking forward to both our second-year defensive tackles taking the next step. Yeah, it's really important for Pickens to do that, because that's one thing that we need to get better at, and that's the run stopping defense. Now, I thought it was pretty solid throughout the year, but there were some games where they were just taking some chunk yards off of us, man, and they were just, making us pay. And that's embarrassing. You guys know that. We don't want anyone to establish a run and pound it. I mean, everybody's going to have something, right? Everybody's going to have some sort of run yards, but you don't want them to be ripping us off with like 20, 30, chunk yards or taking it to the house. That's embarrassing, Let's try to eliminate that. I think Pickens can do that, man. I really do. I'm really excited that him and that other guy, gosh darn it, the nose tackle that we got from the Raiders. Why am I Cliff, somebody help me out. But I think them two boys down in the middle is really gonna help us. So yeah, let's get back on track. I will get back to the comments in a minute. Andrew Billings, thank you. Bearski film. Yeah, big boy. Yeah, for sure. Big dude, man, for sure. If you can, and that's going to help the offensive lineman on our team too. When you go up against a big boy like that, that's going to help you for sure, man. Believe me, I know. I had to pack a lunch with our own team, man, when I was playing. Yeah, so where was I at? Gordon is going to become eligible to sign an extension after 2024. There are some very interesting signings. I don't know if you guys know them off the top of your head, but I know there's at least 2 or 3 guys that need to get signed. I believe Kyler is one of those, and I can't reveal my source, but somebody close to him had said that he really would prefer to play, corner instead of nickel, but he's doing that obviously because he's called to do that. So, and like I said, everybody knows the game. A corner gets paid better than a nickel, so that's part of the reason, but not all the reason. So, but I believe he will do whatever is necessary. You know what I mean? And you obviously could see there's no let up just because he prefers to be somewhere that he's not. Yeah, Bearski film. Yeah, I don't know if I have you on Messenger, Facebook Messenger, but if I do, hit my inbox and I'll send you the link. Bears key film. Um, hopefully I'm not doing that bad. That the audience is coming out willing to help. Hopefully I'm doing all right. It's been a while since I've had to do this myself. You guys know that's how I started. I started with a small little phone, and I was doing it in my garage, and it fell on the ground, and I had like one viewer, and then I had to pick it up. I was like, don't leave, stay with me, one viewer. And I was doing this all just off of Facebook a couple years ago or so. And then I saw out of my eye, I saw a coffee can to help, set it up so it didn't fall down again. I didn't lose my one viewer, but obviously the one viewer grew into others, and it's getting better. Um, yeah, jump on Bearski. I don't have the link in front of me, but I would love to have you on if you're if you're available. But I need to move forward with this. Yeah, so he is going to be heading into his final season to predetermine his 4-year rookie agreement in 2025, right? So I'm not seeing that message, brother. Maybe it takes a minute to get back to me. Uh yeah. No, my Brandon Tracks High on Facebook. On Facebook, Brandon Tracks High. It's me in a picture of Singletary at the tailgate. We were doing a live. I brought Singletary from Texas, and he did an autograph session for the tailgate that I go to right by Soldier Field. We'll be doing that again this year. But yeah, if you could inbox me that, then I'll send you the link, brother. So okay. So yeah. Uh oh, okay. Yeah, I got you. Give me 1 minute. I want to get to this thought really quick before I forget it. He's getting into a contract year. So this is where I think people really step up. Not that Kyler is that dude, but I think you put a little bit more of yourself out there in terms of your body. Like you might play with just this a limp or something and hurt. You play hurt. You play through hurts a little bit more when contracts are coming and whatnot. Not when you're injured. You don't want to do that. But I think people play through hurts a little bit. Soft tissue stuff and all that kind of stuff. I think he's gonna ramp it up and really give us something. And it, like you said earlier, that the turnovers are going to be pretty awesome this season, and I think some of them is going to come from Kyler, man. I really do, for sure. It's going to be cool. So we'll see what happens. He's slated to earn under 1.9 million. I think he's worth more than that. I know some guys on our team. Heck, that one guy, Nate, he's making like what, 10 million a year doing nothing. So yeah, he's definitely eager to ink up and make some money. But honestly, if he tests the free agency, somebody's going to know his value for sure. Somebody's going to scoop him up. Don't let it happen. Pay attention. Hey, Seattle could pick him up. He could go back home, right? To Mukilteo, Washington. I don't know how to say that. What's up, Ant Mass? So let's go ahead and send this link over to this guy that wants to hop on with us. Give me a second, guys. I'm sorry. Uh, usually don't. Usually don't do this on the fly, but I'm gonna take my chance. I'm gonna take my chance with this guy. It could be fun. All right. I just sent you the link, Bear. Let's see here. Yeah, so how many Bears players do you think will make the all NFC North team this year? How many Bears players do you guys think will make the all NFC North team this year? I mean, dude, I don't want to sound like a fanboy, but it could be north of 4, right? It could be north of 4. Think about it. How many Bears players do you guys think will make the all NFC North team? I mean, Jalen Johnson for sure, one of our receivers for sure, definitely a linebacker, and probably Sweat. There's 4 right there. And there's got to be someone else on the bubble that just breaks through. Yeah, I'm saying 4, maybe 5, 3 for sure, 3 to 5. I'll say 3 to 5 NFC North team will make it. That would be really cool. All right, so we should be getting our visitor here any minute. There we go.
Hey,
Hey,
man, what's up?
buddy. Oh, I like that background. That's really clever, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, I tune into your show here and there, and tune into your channel here and there, and a lot of the people in chat are familiar names. So, like I said, I have the night off, kids asleep, so I figured I'd offer at least some of my time to join you and talk a little bit, man.
No, I appreciate it. I had some call offs today. It's kind of weird having that 4th of July on a Thursday, and now some people actually doing it on the 5th. As you could hear, it sounds like Baghdad in my backyard. My buddy, he puts it on, man. He puts on a production, so probably spends. I bet you yeah, I don't think he's told me, but I'd say at least $500 worth of fireworks, maybe more. But
I believe it, man. Some people love it, so
yeah.
I know my neighbors are going off too. I live right by a dead end, so they just all run to the dead end, and it's like our own little fireworks show right there in the front yard. So
before you get started, let me go ahead and read off another sponsor that we got. And that's River Street Tavern. So, folks, if you want Chicagoland's most delicious and fun sports dining experience, head to the River Street Tavern, located at 102 River Street in East Dundee, and open Tuesday through Sunday. So go check them out, folks. They've been really good to us. So, yeah, man, tell everybody a little bit about yourself and where they can find you.
Oh yeah, so I run a channel, Bearski Film, on YouTube. I make highlight videos, hype videos, and then during the season we do weekly podcast shows or like podcast style shows. It's none of it's live; it's all recorded and then edited. But throughout the off season, we're a little bit slower. We just kind of take it as the information comes. So we've been a little slow, and I know a lot of content creators out there are still putting putting information out, trying to stay consistent, trying to stay relevant. So, I always appreciate it. I always have respect for everybody. So, yeah, I figured I'd hop on, man. I believe I'm about 300 subscribers away from 5,000. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, the channel's making a real good push lately. And, yeah, I've been loving everybody who watches all my videos and everything like that. So, yeah, but I got the podcast itch, you know what I mean? Like I haven't been doing it lately, so I don't usually listen to them. I usually participate or record. So yeah, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate you extending that olive branch and sending me a link. So
sweet, man. Yeah, honestly, it's usually somebody I know. It's kind of like a weird, like I gotta trust the guys in the chat thing about you. So, but sounds like you're well established and doing great with the videos. These guys love your videos, so they're excited and happy we're collabing. So let's get it. Yeah, man. So I obviously, I mean, you've done some videos on Kyler Gordon. I mean, there's got to be a lot out there. What do you like about him, and do you think that we should take a look at re-signing this guy?
I mean, definitely, in my opinion. But see, cornerback's an interesting position. I've often found that it takes 3 to 4 years for these guys to pan out and truly reach a level of play that's pretty consistent to where they know what they're doing. Kyle Fuller is a great example of that. His first 3 years were very mediocre, and it's like in his 4th year, something finally clicked. He finally got it, So it's a tough position, and that's why, like, even what you saw with Jalen Johnson, his first couple of years, he didn't have interceptions, and it wasn't until this last year that he actually came down with multiple interceptions. I think we were doing wild predictions at the beginning of the year, and mine was that Jalen Johnson will have at least 2 picks. Like that was wild because he was kind of down on there. So for Kyler Gordon to come in and progress the way he has, I know early on in his first 3 or 4 games, I felt like he actually cost us some of those games his rookie year. But we wound up only winning 3 games that season. So if the overall goal wasn't necessarily to win, then it's worth sacrificing some of those wins to develop your guy. But he was torched pretty early on. But then, even in his rookie year, around halfway through the season, he kind of figured it out, hit a little stride. And, the kid's progressing at the right pace. And I'm very happy with the Bears secondary currently. Even Tyreek Stevenson has had a great rookie year for a guy that was supposed to have some coverage issues. For him to come down with 4 picks on the year was awesome. He's a great run stopper too. And I don't know if we should sign Kyler Gordon just yet. I would hold out till the contract comes and see where, what situation the team is in and everything like that, and make the best decision for the team. But it's not a guy that I would want to let go and have hit free agency. I think the best is still yet to come from Kyler Gordon for sure.
Now, I agree with you with almost everything except that last part where there are some people out there, Ski, that, quite honestly, you want to get their attention. You want to get a little motivation out of them. You want to get a little bit of more juice out of the squeeze, And I think Kyler, even if you extended him right now, would still be the same guy before and after that contract. I just have that type of feeling about this guy. Everything else that you said, I'm tracking with you and makes a whole lot of sense. But we want to introduce Buck Nasty. What's up, Buck? How you doing, buddy?
Good, Brandon. How are you?
Thanks for hopping on, man. We got Bearski here, man. Bearski Film. He does a lot of videos and stuff for the Bears and stuff, or about the Bears. And we're like to have him on. And so we just got a question for you about this Kyler Gordon, playing nickel. He's coming up on a contract, and they got to pay him soon. How do you feel about that guy? Do you think he deserves a re-signing, an extension?
Kyler?
Yeah, Kyler Gordon. Yeah, the nickelback.
Yeah, I like Brisker a lot from that draft. Kyler's not really he's not been bad. I'm not complaining about him, but I don't think that I don't think he's shown that he deserves a second contract yet, but he could this year. I mean, this is his opportunity. I think you give him this year and see how it goes. He could flourish this year. This is his 3rd year, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, year 3 for guys, that's generally where they show what they either have or don't have. Basically, I think year 3 is the judgment year, right?
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yep.
And he should see some time. Like you said, they're probably going to play him in the nickel. But they've got several guys. They've got some additions back there, and we'll see how it pans out because when they get to practice and then playing in the preseason, he might not be in there. Somebody else might be.
Yeah.
But let's assume that he, that he sees decent time at nickel. It's his opportunity to show he deserves that next contract. I'm not sure he's shown that to me yet.
And that's fair because you're old school. He's seen he's been around for a while. Okay, Bearski, he's been around a block a time or two, and he's seen some of those old, vintage '85 Bears and all that. So, but he wants to see all of it before.
Yeah, maybe even a few days before that.
there's just so many guys that have came through that they give him something and then they don't pan out, So I think that's where he's coming from, like a guarded, perspective, and I get that, man. I get that.
Real quick,
yeah.
like you said, it is his third year. I mean, you're gonna let the rookie contract play out. Right?
Absolutely.
He's not gonna threaten to sit next year or anything like that. No, so he's gonna play all of this year, all of next year, and then if you want, I don't know if a fifth-year option is available for. He was a second-round pick, so I believe it still is.
I just think before he breaks out, because okay, here's the deal. This is what I'm looking at, and I know this seems a little greedy, but you got to really watch, because if these guys blossom, all these guys blossom at the same time, we could be in some serious trouble, boys. And
for who to keep.
Who's getting who to keep, who to pay. I mean, we got to get on really spot on with our drafting and recycling guys, and just it's going to be a full-time job. I don't think them boys are ever going to sleep up at the front office once that gets started, which is a good problem. Which is a good problem to have. So all I was saying is, hypothetically, if you give him and it's not really smart right now. Well, he's only $2 million, 1.9 this year. But if you give him a 2-year extension on the third, that might give him a little something to play and keep his numbers down and keep that money down for a little bit before it starts to escalate. That's how I see stuff. But I mean,
that's always another way to look at it too. I get that.
So if that's your point of view, I would say that the one detail about the situation that kind of sticks out to me is that Tyreek Stevenson as a rookie, we're probably more comfortable having him as a number 2.
Absolutely.
And so that would be the one thing when it comes to evaluating Kyler, it's well, you should be in that spot. If Jalen Johnson goes down, is Tyreek Stevenson your number 1 corner?
Right.
That's that should be Kyler. It should be Kyler, right?
Yeah. Well, and I know somebody very close to him. I cannot say who it is. That person is good, and resourceful and close to him. But they did say he prefers playing, corner instead of nickel, because corner pays more, and that is a position he likes and he's comfortable with. But he's one of those guys that just because he prefers it, Bearski, don't mean he's not going to give you all he's got at wherever he needs to be. He's like a team player, you know what I'm saying? So I was kind of interested to see if Jalen was going to leave, because I still feel Tyreek and Kyler could go ahead and fill that void and we wouldn't have a problem. Not that Jalen wouldn't be missed, but that's a whole lot of money there when you're not signing that guy. And I'm still a little worried, Bearski and Ed, about his shoulder, because in college he had an issue. And if you guys remember, that's why he got drafted a little bit later. And since then, he's injured it as well, too, with us. And that's something that when you're that type of player that he is, that's very aggressive and plays tough, kind of like that peanut personality, mentality. You're going to use that shoulder again, right? I hope it works out. That's all I'm going to say,
Yeah, he's playing like one of the top 3 cornerbacks in the league is what he's playing like. And of course we would miss him. And I like re-signing him. And in answer to Bearski's question, in my eyes, if Jalen Johnson was to go down, Tariq Stevenson is our number 1 corner because Kyler Gordon isn't. That's what I think about that question.
Yeah, so when it comes to like negotiating a contract as a GM, that would be my conversation with him.
Yeah.
Right? Like hey, if
Right.
we're determining your value, you're if you're a great nickel, then that's all you're going to be worth, though. You know what I mean? Like you said, these guys rather play outside corner because it makes more money. Just like Tevin Jenkins came into the league as a tackle, and he was kind of pissed off when he got moved to guard. Why do they make less money? Like right. You want that contract, you want that money, so it is what it is. But
now here's the thing that I'm interested in, because I'm not a pathologist, obviously, but now that the sub packages, and you've seen this in your films, I'm sure, Bearski, and watching the games, the sub packages outrule the normal packages of a base 4-3 or 3-4, whatever. In terms of that 4-4, whatever, when you got a nickel out there, dime, 62, 60 something percent, that's almost a starter in of itself. He's almost out there every damn down. You know what I'm trying to say to you? So, like, at some point they have to put that and make an adjustment to those nickels salaries and up it a little bit. You know what I'm trying to say? Because they're throwing it's like a throwing dominant type NFL now.
Definitely, and like you said, it's 60% of the time you're coming out in nickels. So the defense is always going to come out based off of the offensive package, right? So the reason why we're playing nickel so much is because teams are out there running 3 wide a lot, right? So you have to have the corners to be able to play them, and there's very few teams out there that have success in other areas, that could go out there with 2 wide and run the ball on you and things like that. So yeah, it's definitely an important position, but I've always felt like it's a very interchangeable position. That's the spot where you give a guy a chance to flash,
for sure,
to take the step forward to move up. So the fact that he's going into his 3rd year here and he's most comfortable at that position, that's great. But it then that tells me that he's kind of limited on what he can do or what he feels comfortable doing. Whereas Tyreek Stevenson, like I said, the knock on that guy was supposed to be that, hey, he may give up some deep balls, some passes behind him, this and that. But he's a great run stopper. He's a solid guy. And we saw the great run stopping. We saw the great solid play. And then on top of it, there weren't that many passes that went behind him. In fact, he came down with 4 interceptions his rookie year. So, that's great play, and that's why he's earned that position over.
And they usually pick, and they usually, right? No, you're right. You're 100% right, and that's why he's. And I think without Tyreek coming, he might have had a chance. But now that Tyreek blossomed so well, that just unfortunately kind of solidifies his position that you're always wanting to get there. You know what I mean? So
right. I can see why you think this way because of that, because the situation at hand. I mean, if all he's going to be is a nickel, then is it worth paying a premier nickel, or is it just better to move on, get another guy, and give him the opportunities to play on a lesser deal? I mean, you can't pay all 3 quarters. You can't.
No, you can't. But at the same point in time, if he gives you those splash plays and he comes out and he gets you interceptions, right, and does all these sort of things or you could even line him up and, do a blitz with him, send him in, whatever. If he makes all those moments count, then we got something, you gotta reward him. You gotta pay him. Otherwise, another team will, like I said earlier, Seattle, they might be watching their hometown boy, I don't know, but I'd like to see him in the building. But I definitely see what you're saying, because Tyreek blossom, Jalen is here for the long haul, and Kyler's got to just lock it up and just keep being the great nickel that he is. So it's a very good situation that we're in, Bearski. This is a very good situation to be in. And like you said, rightfully so, he's still got 2 years left to prove himself. So that's good.
Yeah, I asked my co-host David. I asked him a pretty interesting question, which I want to kind of shoot your way a little bit. And that question is this the best team Caleb Williams will have during his rookie contract? Now, what my co-host said is, no, we still have 10 draft picks next year. Next year will be the best team. Caleb Williams has under his rookie contract. But then after that, it's time to pay guys. Like all these contracts are blossoming. You're gonna lose guys and have to replenish guys, and it's so I want to ask you that. Do you think in Caleb Williams' rookie contract, this will be the most talented team he has in 2024?
I think it might be a little slanted because of the strength of schedule. So you might see a lot of guys go off this year that might not next year. And then you're going to get some more younger players coming in, like you just said, rooks and then sophomores. So the team saturated with youth, with lack of experience. So it's a hard, for me, I can't really answer that right now. I'm sorry. I do that and I put myself out there, but I'm seeing a lot of youth down the road, and and I'm thinking of these draft picks coming up. What do we got, like 10 or something? It's a lot. And just Cliff just brought up earlier, if we lose any of these players, we get comp picks. So there's even more draft picks, man. It's crazy. So yeah, I think no matter what the answer is, it's a great place to be, bro, because the Bears are actually for once showing that they're competent in drafting players, bro. You know what I mean? Not everyone's going to be a hit. Not everybody's going to be a marksman, bullseye, hit, but they're doing pretty damn good to at least hit the board, and some bullseyes, So I like it. I like it, man.
Yeah, me too. And I've always been one of the philosophy of, man, it's a shit show. Give me more darts to throw at the dartboard. Like, you look at some of these drafts and how they pan out, and really you start to question, like, does any GM truly know what they're doing? All these guys are just guessing at the end of the day, man. I got a story for you. So the Chiefs and Andy Reid, they offered the Broncos a trade up because they wanted a quarterback. Shit, which quarterback was it? It's one of these no names, but they were trying to trade up to pick 3. Man, I can't believe I forgot the name, but the Broncos rejected him. And that year, the Chiefs just wound up staying put and taking Chris Jones. And the year after that, they wound up trading up to get Patrick Mahomes. But yeah, hold on, I gotta get this name right. It wasn't Drew. Who was it? It started with a P. I could have swore, but whatever.
Yeah.
Still, it just goes to show you, like, sometimes you just need to save you from yourself, right? So,
yeah,
man, the draft it's weird. You look at the results year to year, and when you go back in hindsight's 2020, you could see that there's talent all throughout the draft and everything like that. So for me to trade up and give additional picks to get a guy, I mean, that tells me that you are so confident that you know what you're doing, that you're willing to give up more draft capital. And then when you get that wrong, when we were in situations like with Anthony Miller, traded up to get Anthony Miller, traded up to get Trubisky, when we're sitting there and giving away draft picks to move up and get guys that we don't even sign to a second contract, that's an ultimate failure. Well, what Ryan Poles has done is he's played this very conservatively, extremely conservatively. Like, I was just talking to someone yesterday, like, dude, take this Caleb Williams pick away. Like, forget about it. We still win that trade. We already won it. Right. Oh, yeah. So, like, this is the cherry on top of the sundae at this point. And so, yeah, what Ryan Poles is doing, his approach to the draft and everything like that, just being conservative, has really built this thing the right way. I was talking to my buddy and his father's had season tickets since the 60s. They've been going to the games all the time. And, we were talking, and they were both like, hey, been here, done that, get it, new quarterback. Like, we need to see it. We need to see it. And I'm like, yeah, we do. I was like, but it not only feels different this time, it is different this time. There is a plan for the future regardless. And it's not like we're pushing the chips all in and gambling on certain things panning out. Like, no, there's a lot of options and a lot of roads for this team. Even if certain things fail, there's still plenty of paths that lead to us being just fine. And so, yeah, I tip my hat to Ryan Poles. He's done a great job. Like you said, you're not going to hit everything in the draft, but he's been able to masterfully articulate the drafts and everything like that. Now, me personally, this year, I wanted to trade back from 9. And so, like, when they picked Roma Dunze, okay, I get it. That wasn't my choice, though. And still seeing that, like, no defensive player went to pick 16 is kind of interesting, because you can't convince me that there isn't one defensive player out there that's going to wind up being a stud. So in my mind, I still would have rather traded back, gotten more draft capital, and still had pick of the litter at defensive players. But listen, hey, if they're that high on Roma Dunze and that's what they want to get, then they know what they're doing. And I don't. I just have an opinion. But seeing these wide receiver contracts pan out the way they did this offseason kind of lets me think that, man, maybe Ryan Poles is just one step ahead of where everybody else is, because I'm at a point now where I'm looking at these wide receivers going, would I feel comfortable paying any of them? I know you said you're not a capologist, but it's like, dude, with them asking for so much money, I don't know if I feel comfortable paying DJ Moore. I don't know if I'll feel comfortable paying Roma Dunze in 5 years if this trend continues. So in that case, it's going to be replace, draft wide receivers. It's just an interesting landscape that the NFL is in right now.
And then the other interesting part about that, too, to piggyback off of what you just said, is really quick. Let me address this really quick, because we haven't hit this up in a second. And Cliff, my man Cliff, just reminded me. He said, if you hit the like now, YouTube counts it for more than a like at the beginning. Hit the button and you were better than the other guys. Seriously, it's right there. So just hit that like button, subscribe, be a friend, tell a friend, smash that notification bell, and make sure that you guys all check out Bearski Film and all his great content. We're on Chicago Sports Podcasts are on Twitter. We're on YouTube right now and Facebook. And Bearski, I just inboxed you our show tonight for YouTube and XApp. So, but yeah, getting back to that, I think that what they're going to do is spread the ball around to all those receivers, right? And if you have a bunch of studs and they all need to eat, I don't think that those numbers that escalate you to that next level are going to be so high. So maybe it all averages out and they get like the top 10 average or top 15 average of the receivers, and it might work out that way. Maybe it won't. Maybe he's also just looking at the fact that, Keenan Allen is in here for 1 or 2 year hitch, maybe 3 at the most, and he can make a Dunze and the rest of Tyler Scott and all them boys, the younger boys, better. And DJ could sprinkle some of himself in there too. But he got him on the cheap. He got him for a 4th round pick. So in my mind, our first 4th round pick was Keenan Allen. It wasn't the punter, right? So in my mind, because you're using draft capital to go get a guy, that way. That's the way I look at things, So I think he's done a really good job. Even when we haven't had a lot of draft picks, he's made the free agents and trades with draft picks look like, we drafted. And who are you going to find in the 4th round that's going to be like a perennial Pro Bowler like Keenan Allen? That's the best, as you've seen on your films, the best short slot cross route receiver in the NFL. And that's exactly what you need to show a guy like a Dunze how to run routes and stuff, So I think it's cool, man.
Just I've done a little bit of research on this, and there's the term running backs are a dime a dozen, right? Well,
yes,
to be honest with you, wide receivers have a weird history too of being drafted all over the place and still succeeding. So like Antonio Brown was a 5th round pick, and man, he led the league. Cooper Kupp, I think, was a 3rd round pick. Yes. Just last year, you had Puka Nacua drafted in the 5th round, who set rookie wide receiver records, right? So like Tyreek Hill was a 5th round pick. So can you find these guys in the 4th, 5th round? Sure you can. I mean, it's still a shot out there. They're not consistently out there and things like that. Yeah. So I think the Keenan Allen move, you know what you're getting with Keenan Allen, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
like
Yes,
you gave up a 4th round pick for pretty much you check that position off the box, and for where this team is at right now, the one thing that, like I said, it not only feels different, it is different. The one thing I could say about this year is they've set this thing up for Caleb Williams to succeed. Like, there is no reason why this kid should not be able to progress and get up to speed with the NFL and everything like that. In my lifetime as a Bears fan, and in all the time I've spent researching the teams before I was alive too, I do just in general, even in the whole NFL, I don't know if I could name a team that's been in a better position for a number 1 overall draft pick than we currently are right now. And part of that is that we weren't the worst team and we still wound up with the number 1 pick, right? So this is it's weird. I'm not as hyped as I was even when we drafted Justin Field. I'm a little bit more down to earth, but like almost deep down, I know, like, man, this thing has such more of a chance for success than it does for failure. Like, it would be Ryan Poles has done a really good job just creating the situation that we have in front of us. And I think it's going to pan out. I really do.
Well, you know, what's interesting too, that you said that in years past with other GMs, every once in a while we'd be like, oh yeah, Alshon Jeffrey, whatever, every once in a while we get a nugget, right? With Poles, man, it's like it's happening almost all the time. So you get kind of like numb to it. You know what I mean? It's not like as fresh and as exciting as it used to be. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still get excited about these, but not nearly as much as like, I'm not jumping up and screaming Toyota on each one like I used to, because it just seems so more of the norm now, like, oh yeah, this Poles is going to do Poles, Poles is going to be Poles. So, and speaking of which, John was just kind of saying what you were saying in the chat here, and what we've been talking about. And if these numbers are accurate, I don't think he would put stuff up here, or anybody would, that's not close or whatever. But individual position rankings for the Bears. QB Caleb is 19th. Swift is 20th. I think that could be a little better. I think that number's a little high. Caleb's might be 2, but he's a rookie. It's hard to tell.
Real quick, just at the start of this, Caleb 19th. So you're telling me you can name 18 teams that would rather have their current quarterback than Caleb? Because I think I can only name like 6.
Bro, I'm just saying, I think these numbers he got these from somewhere. I don't think these are his personal numbers.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But I'm just saying, like, in my mind.
I agree with you.
Yeah, we're okay.
Yeah, we're good. Especially with some of these others like Swift. Like, I think he's going to be like a Swiss Army knife type back. You know what I mean? He's getting similar, but I'm not calling him Forte, but Forte could do everything good, and some things great. Moore 12th, Allen 22nd, 22nd. Maybe as far as a 40-yard dash because he's slow, but I don't know about 22nd, man. Tight end Komet 11th, Everett 19th, Braxton 31st, Wright 30. See Wright, I can't see it 32nd, even with one arm blocking, and pancaking guys with one arm. Bates 25th. So the numbers are there. We got some guys in there that's on the board, and it's not just like 3 or 4 guys and there's nothing else on the board, right? So where the proof is in the pudding, even these numbers could be a little bit off or whatever. And I think you and I both feel some of it is, but whatever it is, we got guys on the board, bro. So that's cool, man. John goes into the defense. Oh no, this is still a couple more offense, right? Tevin 16th, Davis 26th, interior D line, none in the top 32. Edge Sweat 22nd, seems a little high for Sweat. Edwards 9th, Edmonds 11th, Jalen 5th. I feel like Jalen could be a little lower, and Bayard 12th. So
yeah, listen, I could put together statistics left and right that could tell you any story I want to tell, right? so like for example, Jalen being 5th. Well, if your other corners are struggling, why would you throw at the number 1 corner? You know what I mean? So like, yeah, he might be elevated more just because he gets less targets because other players of the team are
they like to pick on the rookie. Yeah,
that's just an example. So like, interior DL, not in the top 32. Okay, I get that. That is kind of a weak spot on the team. But however, Javon Dexter did play very well as far as a rookie did for the last half of the season. So like we're looking at some of these positions to improve and to get better. And I want to comment on something that he said. He said the most penalized O-line in the NFL last year and gave up 3rd most sacks. You're only fixing that with good coaching. Not necessarily, because we actually saw this example play out last year where the Bears O-line wasn't very good, and then Tyson Bagent comes in there, is able to just throw from the pocket, get rid of the ball, and all of a sudden those sack numbers went down a lot. In fact, he only got sacked, I believe, 5 times in 4.5 games, whereas Justin Fields was averaging about 3 sacks a game. So the coaching didn't change. What changed is the quarterback style and the quarterback play. Man, listen, I'm a bigger guy. I like my food. I'm a heavy set dude. You can't tell me to run side to side all fucking day and have me be happy about it. Like if my job is to sit there and plant and hold my ground, but you're running around back there and I got to keep up with you, it's not necessarily what these guys are built for to do. And like, unless you're going to draft linemen for the specific style of the quarterback, like clearly these guys produced a lot better with a more typical historical pocket passer at the helm, even with an undrafted rookie free agent doing it. So I think they could improve just based off the quarterback play style, even if the coaching doesn't change. Like I think that can make a ton of difference for sure.
Well, and he's not going to hold on to the ball as long. So in essence, because he has more targets to get rid of the ball, he's not holding the ball like we saw last year, trying to get rid of the ball at the 20, 30-yard pass. It's going to be some of it's going to be some quick, short passes. And I've seen Caleb do that in college, even before this tumultuous year without Addison. Look at his 2 receivers in the NFL barely got drafted. They almost became undrafted, free agents. So, but my point is he's going to be able to hit 3 guys right away, receivers. He's going to be able to hit his back, 2 tight ends. He's going to have a lot of targets to get rid of that ball quicker and faster. His process, he's a lot smarter and intelligent. He can read defenses. That ball is going to get off. And if he has to, he's going to actually throw the ball out of bounds. Because I can't think of one time, you do film, I don't, but I'm just saying from my memory as a former offensive lineman, I can't think of one time I actually seen our former quarterback throw the ball out of bounds. And that is to play and live into the next play instead of being 3rd and forever when we could have had the crocodile punter really freaking, boot that thing, because we needed a lot last year. It showed up. But I think it's going to be a lot better. Piggyback off of what you just said is he's going to be able to process and get that ball off quicker, and he's not going to be holding on to the ball as long. And it's going to be a lot of chunk plays, yards after catch and stuff. I think it's going to be good, bro. And also too with a competent offensive coordinator that's going to make things a lot simpler and smoother, right?
Yeah, definitely. And part of the thing with the offensive line too, especially if you're a former offensive lineman, then you should know.
Yeah.
That is one of those things where that group, that unit of guys, it's so important for them to stay consistent and gel. And all we've done is plug and play, insert, and there's really been very little consistency there. So even just having that pan out a little bit better and having the same group of guys go out there game after game after game would benefit a lot. And like you said about throwing the ball out of bounds, man, I love Tom Brady in his career. And if the left tackle gave up pressure, he's just whipping that thing at the ground. He's literally just boom, dumping that thing. Let's get on to the next play because it's not worth it. Right. And so So that's one end of things very drastically. What we had with Justin Fields was the other end of things, where he's always trying to keep it alive and always trying to make the play. And unfortunately, sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative, right? But part of that is quick release. Like Caleb has the reason why he's such a highly touted prospect. And like I see some of these comments in the chat, and I know Don Burr's just a hater, so he's just gonna sit here and fucking hate all day, but whatever. But like talking about certain things about rookie setbacks and things like that. No, Caleb will have his rookie setbacks, but he is capable of playing more carefully, even while rolling out to the sideline. I've seen plenty of times where just before he goes out of bounds, he's just going to get rid of that thing because the release is quick. He's able to. And I think the situation at hand right now is very good. Like I said, for him to succeed, for him to progress and get better. And, the whole point of the quarterback position is to be able to overcome obstacles, elevate the guys around you. You know what I mean? I'll throw it back to, I love to give people this example. We're very aware of what the Packers history is, being our division rival. So in 2010, when Aaron Rodgers won that Super Bowl, his head coach was Mike McCarthy. Well, right now, people were like putting Mike McCarthy's head on a chopping block at the end of the season, calling him the worst NFL head coach and this and that. Okay, so say that's true. So Aaron Rodgers won with a shitty head coach. His offensive coordinator that year was Joe Philbin. Joe Philbin went to Miami for 2 years and dwindled away to nothing. So, okay, so despite a shitty head coach, despite a shitty offensive coordinator, he was also the most sacked quarterback that year. So despite a shitty offensive line, dude was still able to go out there and win a Super Bowl. And that is the beauty of a quarterback. Now, if you want consistent Super Bowls, I think we all here have known that the Packers underplayed Rodgers' capability. I think even Green Bay fans will tell you that they feel that they should have won more than just one Super Bowl with that kind of quarterback at the helm. And it's true, but they still won one Super Bowl. So like the power of a quarterback, the amount of influence they can have. I mean, dude, you got a good one. You can overcome a lot of negativity. And so a mediocre offensive line, sure, it may be a problem. That's one of those things that totally can be overcome by a smart quarterback.
Yeah, and knowing and picking up the reads, the hot reads on the defense, knowing who's coming in hot and adjusting, coverage and your line of scrimmage, everything that the defense shows you, take that and use it and have that clock management and a built-in clock in your head all the way up until the last second. Hike that ball, and if you have to, call a hot route, call an audible, call an Omaha, do whatever you got to do, but don't just run with it and literally run with it every time. I think the best thing that I could say that I've seen with Caleb is he keeps his eyes down the field the whole time and he's scanning constantly. And then what he will do is he will scamper out and then fall back into the pocket and make the throw down the field, extending the play. He said on record, he does not like to run. He likes to get the ball into his teammates' hands to make those plays. How you doing, Ed? Thanks for coming back, buddy.
Awesome. Had to leave you to get home, but I'm here for the duration.
All right, cool. So yeah, we were just not sure how we got on the topic, but it does happen. It's happened when you've been on. We're on the topic of Caleb Williams, bro. So yeah, we're just talking about him putting in work and doing, good things and what we feel could, benefit our team when we were just, breaking down our team and looking into, this upcoming season. So
I did not mean to derail you off the Kyler Gordon
topic. No,
my bad.
No,
it's
you're
just
good.
Kind of what I do though. So
no, I love it. I love it. It's great. I'm a USC fan, so anytime I can talk about my Trojans, dude, I love it. But I know Ed's got something to say. He's always got something to say. Anytime we throw a topic at him, what you got, buddy?
Well, my first thought from listening to that conversation was I was going to say to Bearsky, look, if he was still talking about Kyler Gordon the whole damn time I was driving home, I'm glad you knocked him off of that one. He was over baking that. Caleb Williams. I tell you what, I haven't seen enough of him to really get a good feel. I got high hopes, I can tell you that. If he's half of what he's been built up to be, we're in pretty good shape for a while. So I can't wait to start seeing him. I want to see, some game time stuff, man. I can't wait to see the kid, and like I say, big high hopes there for the kid. I hope we got us one.
Yeah, and I don't think that you want to piggyback off of what you just said, Buck. I don't think you ever want to hand the keys to a kid that doesn't show any promise, that doesn't show, any sort of like. So there's been a few near miss incidences in my life where, hey, if I was a kid, I'm not getting a Camaro, okay? You're gonna put me in a Bug or something cheap, maybe a Cavalier, and say, hey, let's see if you earn your stripes and you stay alive getting from point A to point B.
I miss my Trans Am, man. I miss my Trans Am. I only sold it because my wife made me, but I fucking miss it. I almost died in that thing a couple times, but I miss it.
Bearsky, what year?
98 red T-tops.
I had a 79 red T-tops.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. But yeah, listen, I hear you. I think I was 18, 19 when I got the car. And yeah, almost died a couple times. So
I bet.
That's why
you had the
I
original.
get it. You don't want to give the keys to a kid. I get it.
Yeah, and I think he's showing promise. I think he's shown enough to where, hey, how come the other kid didn't get all of those toys? Well, the timing wasn't right, and whatever toys we had, you really didn't play too well with and take care of. So I really think that's what's happening here, and I'm really excited about this year. It's gonna be great. But shifting back over to the defense really quick, there's one other guy that I'd like to pick your brain on, Ski, and that's Kevin Byard. We added him as a three-time Pro Bowler, a safety to ensure communication and accountability are consistent, present throughout a young but ascending back end of our defense. I really think the sky's the limit for our defensive backs, and also most notably, like we were talking about earlier, we have 4 key positions in the NFL right now where we lead the league, in the top 10 with our tight ends, our defensive backs,
position groups, yes.
Yeah, and our receivers. I mean, we're looking really good, man. I like how we're built, and it's not just one player back in the day where you've got your Urlacher or your Pepper, and you're like, if that goes down, I think we're not to say that there's some division that, position groups that don't need a little bit of extra, but and that'll come. I'm confident it'll come, but I like how we look right now. I do.
So to answer that question, just in general in the NFL landscape, when you sit there and you're complaining about guys and evaluating guys like, okay, like for example with the Giants, Daniel Jones. Oh, he sucks. Okay, well, so then the response to that is usually, well, who else are you going to put in there? Right? Like, who else do you have? And so when we're talking about Kevin Byard, I'll tell you, what team is Eddie Jackson on right now? None. Exactly. So who else would we have had? A guy that nobody else wants. So clearly this isn't right. Like, no, I mean, listen, I got nothing against Eddie Jackson, but it's like that guy was a 4th round pick. He had a flashy year. They paid him a contract that,
and he was never the same.
And exactly. And so, it came to a point where him and Cody Whitehair were top 2 paid guys. Meanwhile, we're trying to rebuild this thing. Like, yeah, dude, you haven't been playing up to your value, and you're not going to play up to your value, because that same money could be spent on a much more polished veteran who's not going to, who hasn't had the injury history and who's not going to. I don't mind people taking chances from that position, right? Like Troy Polamalu, dude, he'd come right up to the line, but if he needed to, he'd drop all the way back and still get an interception just based off his physical capabilities. I don't mind you taking risks, but those risks need to then pan out and be successful. There's been a lot of times where Eddie Jackson was like, my bad. Okay, enough of that, dude. It's like year 3, year 4, enough of your bad. And like enough of you not being a concrete tackler. Like there was very little very little consistency in big plays from him and things like that. So I think we're much better off with Kevin Byard. And what kind of impact it'll have on the defense, I don't know yet, but I truly think it'll have a much more positive impact. And if you remember, not this past year, but in 2022, our leading sacker was Jaquan Brisker. Because we had no defensive line, because we had no defensive ends, we would blitz Jaquan Brisker pretty often. He was our leading sacker in 2022. 2023, we got more line help and things like that, and we kind of went away from that. Well, listen, if Brisker knows that the other safety is going to play more conservative and you could put him in position to be able to take some more chances, he's shown you that he actually takes those opportunities and makes the most of them. So I think that might open up some bigger plays for Jaquan Brisker having Kevin Byard in there next to him. So
yeah, I do too. I think he'll be able to roam around more and not be so worried about the deficiencies that his former teammate Eddie had, and try to be everywhere all the time. And it's just going to be, he's going to be able to play more loose and comfortable and not have to worry about all those areas of responsibilities. Like Byard's really going to share that. They'll be equally yoked. It'll be good, man. I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, definitely. What do you think?
I agree with everything you said about Byard and Brisker, and they need to get back to blitzing him. I got all the confidence in the world in the guys we got in the defensive backfield. I think as a whole, it's a great group all the way across. I like all of them. I even like that kid they picked up. Was it from Green Bay? That he's a safety / corner.
Jonathan Owens.
Yeah, I like him too. I think he'll get in. He'll get some time in there, and I think he'll show that he was a good pickup also.
Yeah, and so like
he's wanting to. I mean, I could tell just from the things I've read that in the couple short interviews that I've seen with him that, oh yeah, he wants to get in there and help. I mean, I'm hoping that he sees enough time to do it too, because we're loaded back there. We really are.
Unfortunately, just from my mindset and my point of view, in a 4-3 style defense, like it's great to have a good secondary, but like I'll go back to the 2006 Bears. Nate Vasher had 7 interceptions in 2006. Why? Because the ball's just flying out there. Because the defense is getting pressure. These quarterbacks don't have time to throw. When they do throw, they're getting hit. It's not according to plan, and the ball's just out there. Nate Vasher was just right place, right time, and wound up getting 7 interceptions. I think he wound up going to Detroit. I don't know, Don Bird. Don Bird's a Detroit fan, right? He might be able to.
Definitely not a Bears fan,
right. So, but like I know he went to another team and got another contract. Never really lived up to that same type of potential that he had in 2006. Well, so it's like, okay, so that defensive line in a 4-3 could really elevate your secondary, and it kind of happened this last year. Like this Bears team wasn't very good defensively until Montez Sweat came, and when Montez Sweat came and started putting more pressure on the quarterbacks, all of a sudden you see turnovers start popping up left and right. All of us, you know what I mean? And so like it did elevate the play of everybody. So I would be just a little bit, it was one of my things with Jalen Johnson where like I was not all for making him the number 1 paid corner. I was actually all for the contract he got, overpaying him by $1 or $2 million a year. I think he's a $16 million a year type of corner. He got $18 million a year or so, which is exactly, I think, what we had to do to keep him, just overpay him a little bit. But part of his success came from backup quarterbacks throwing the ball and him intercepting it. And the other part came from the defensive line and pressure improving to give those, give that secondary opportunities to be able to make plays. And so, it's weird. And I think somebody said it in the chat earlier about the O-line concerns and things like that. It's weird because it's like usually you want to build from the trenches out.
Yeah.
It feels like they've built from out in a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's kind of odd, but you know what? Hey man, you add one guy in there on the defensive line. We've seen Khalil Mack make such an impact. We just saw Montez Sweat make such an impact. We saw Julius Peppers make an impact when he gets signed. If this team is in a position where they're doing all right, I say you make a trade by the end of the trade deadline to get some kind of defensive line help in here for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. That's a good point, man. I like that.
And then I don't know if you see it or not. I uploaded a picture of my Firebird just because we're on the topic. Every time it's mentioned, I just reminisce see it. So I don't know if you see it or not. But,
I don't.
No, it tells me it's in the studio, whatever. But yeah, if you wanted to show it. If not, whatever. There he is.
Ah,
love it.
Yeah, baby.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
So, there you go. All right.
Cool. Yeah, man. Thanks for showing. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for tonight, fellas. I mean, is there anything that we missed that you guys want to touch on? I think I'm good. We got Canton coming up in a couple weeks. I'll be there. Mongo gave me an invite, so I'll be there with his friends and family. I also have a media pass, so I'll be able to do an interview with Hester and the rest of the guys, Dwight Freeney, Patrick Willis, all those guys. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Awesome, man. Hell yeah. Good stuff right there.
I did a lot of stuff with the 85 Bears and Mongo and stuff. So I got the invite.
He can't make it.
Yeah, I'm going to be one of those guys that as soon as midnight hits, I'm trying to click to just get any kind of tickets I can. So for sure, man. Maybe I'll see you there on a random day. But
where are you at? Are you local?
Yeah, I'm in Chicago. I'm in Elmwood Park. I don't know if you know where that is or not, but are you in Chicago?
I'm Northwest Indiana. I'm right outside of city limits and all that.
Yes, sir. So yeah, I'm like, yeah, northwest suburbs, pretty much. But like I said, one of my best friends, his father has had season tickets since he was a kid. He would tell me about, when he was a kid, they'd see games at Wrigley Field with the end zone still being cut out and whatnot. And so I've been lucky enough throughout my life to just get whenever they have a spare ticket here and there or an opportunity available. Usually it's during the wintertime because his old ass doesn't want to deal with the cold. Right. So I've been to, I want to say, at least 2 games a year for maybe the last 15, 20 years or so.
It take you about 3 inches of newspaper.
You know what? We dress warm. We dress warm with the little heating packets and the gloves and in the shoes and everything. But yeah. So it's nice, man. It's nice to have those type of connections and things like that and be able to go to the games. That's cool that you did a lot of work with the 85 Bears. That was even before my time. But yeah, man, that's awesome that you got a media pass and everything. That's great, dude.
I work with guys like Ed and stuff, and all the stories and stuff are so surreal and sounds cool, hitting hard, laying wood and all that cool stuff. And it just, resonates with you. And then start YouTube and stuff. And next thing you know, you watch so much of it, you feel like you were there, and then you watch this generation Bears and you're just like, my God, we need to get back to restore the glory. This is getting bad. So I think we're getting there though. It feels like we're heading in the right direction, especially compared to the other Chicago sports right now. Jeez, oh Pete's. But yeah, man. Hey, thanks for coming on. We've exchanged information. Hopefully I'll work with you again in the future, bro. You were spot on. I'm going to watch me some Bearski film, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, man. I'll send you some links to some recent hype videos and stuff like that I've made. So yeah, check it out, man. Like I said, I haven't been a consistent listener to your channel, but whenever I see you guys are on live and this and that, I try and hop in and just at least listen for a little bit and whatnot. So yeah, it's always good work. Always appreciate other content creators.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure, man. I wish your channel nothing but the best. And thanks for taking a flyer out there on me and just sending me a random link tonight. That was awesome. So glad
Dude,
to
you had so many people.
What's up,
You had some.
Good to meet you, buddy.
Nice to meet you too.
You had so many people in the chat that were clapping for you. It was kind of hard, man. I was like, you know what? He's got to know something about this guy. So let's do it,
Man, sometimes they're clapping, sometimes they're shitting on me. It just depends. It depends what week you got them, you know what I mean? But yeah, like Ant Mask, Clip Victoria, guys like that, definitely common names that I've seen quite often in different podcasts and things like that I participate in. So those are the guys that are truly making all this worth it. You know what I mean? Those hardcore fans out there that are watching all these different podcasts and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm always shocked at being like, man, we have some truly dedicated fans out there that are willing to participate with a lot of different content creators. So it's awesome. I appreciate all of them for sure.
Smart too. They're very smart, educated. They know their stuff. And I put our fan base up with anybody else's, especially them Packers. FGB, bro. All right, guys. You guys have a good night and have a happy 5th. And until then, bear down and Chi-Town up. See you guys.
Right on, guys.
Thanks, Ed.